Hey Mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Hope you're all having a great day. In today's update we are going to get the engine cleaned off, degreased and get ready to go back in the car and painted of course. So we've got our bits ready to do that. So I've got some various different brushes. What I do is I just get old paint brushes or cheap paint brushes, these are ones from Wilkinson's, and then just cut them about halfway down. That just makes the bristles a bit stiffer and you can really get in there and agitate the gunk and get all the the greasy deposits off the engine. I'm using Gunk engine degreaser and I use it in a pressure sprayer. This is actually a brake cleaner pressure sprayer, but it works for any solvents or anything like that. If you put it in a normal sort of plant pressure sprayer that you use for watering plants, it just it distorts the seals inside. The rubber in it is not made for solvent, so it goes all horrible. Works for 5 minutes and they stop working. So these are really good. As I say, just Gunk engine degreaser in there, and just for the more stubborn areas we've got some wire brush and wire brush pokey thingy for getting right into the corners and that sort of thing. So the engine is pretty grimy and pretty rusty, as you've just seen at the end of the last video, and obviously it's been on there for years and years, so it's quite well ingrained on there, where the oil and grease and whatever has just been there for years. So it's going to take some getting off. I'm going to apply the Gunk, agitate it, and then I'm going to use my Karcher pressure washer. There's a lance on it for using on like concrete and stone. It's really aggressive. You wouldn't want to use it in car paintwork, but I think it'd be pretty good on the engine. And fingers crossed it helps to get some of that loose rust off as well, because it is really, really crusty, the engine. Aside from that, what else? A few people have asked what contact grease I used on the electric plugs. And that's what I use. It's battery terminal grease. I don't know whether it's specifically contact grease, but it's meant for electrical contacts and things like that. I've used it for years. Does a good job. Stops it corroding. It's pretty cheap as well. What else? Goggles ready to go. And I did pick up, someone mentioned in one of the previous videos about the wiring loom. So I just recovered the wiring loom in PVC tape, and they pointed out that it might not be the best thing to use, and never really thought about it, but they're right actually. The PVC tape holds moisture inside the loom, so if it gets wet, the loom stays wet for indefinitely pretty much. So I've got this stuff. This stuff is called Tessa tape. I think it's well known. I've never used it before, but it's like a fabric loom tape. So it offers some protection against abrasion on the loom because it's fabric. It's really, really sticky as well, so it should stick to the loom really nicely. The main point about it though is it's fabric based. They use this on German cars. I've seen it on German cars in the past. And because it's fabric based, it allows the loom to breathe. So if the loom ever gets wet, rather than it just corroding from sort of the inside where the moisture's trapped in there, that allows the moisture to get out. So I'm going to recover those parts of the loom I've done already, or take the PVC off, fit the Tessa tape, and I've got to do the engine loom yet. Oh, just a quick mention. So I will be at Bingley Hall, I think 25th, 26th of January, 26th I think. I've got my wife to make up. I've got about 30 classic mini workshop stickers there, like this. So if you want one, tap me on the shoulder, yeah, first come, first served. Once they're gone, they're gone. Yeah, that's it I think. Let me get kitted up and yeah, let's get this engine cleaned. So we're using a good old Gunk to clean the engine, just in the brake cleaner sprayer. Covered up all the big holes. It's not actually that greasy, it's more rust than grease. go, that wasn't too painful. Yeah, it looks a lot better now. Got all that grime off, just got to get that loose rust off now. Well, most of it come off with the pressure washer actually. It's pretty powerful, that pressure washer. As you can see, it took the paint clean off the filter, taken the paint off that water pump pulley, took most of the paint off the rocker cover. So yeah, be careful with that on car paintwork. But yeah, it's looking much better. Around the back as well. Yeah, just wants a bit of a wire wheel, lick of paint. Now I'll be going back in. So I've had all the plugs out, just blown air down them, compressed air just to make sure there's no water in there. Same again on the inlet and exhaust ports. But yeah, pretty pleased. I don't know what I look like at the moment. Let's have a laugh. Am I covered in crap? Probably. Well, that looks a million times better, doesn't it? I didn't film all of that. Obviously, I took the clutch cover off, or wok, as some people like to call it. I thought it was quite funny. I never realised people refer to it as a wok before. And obviously, I just had a look at the clutch while I had the cover off. But I've cleaned up the thrust bearing, that pin there, re-greased it, and I'm just waiting to put the arm back in now. The rest I just cleaned out of a wire wheel. So now we're going to mask it off. We're going to paint the silver first. I'll talk about the paint in a moment, but I'm going to use, on the silver, I'm just going to use 5-wheel silver alloy wheel paint. Really just because it's designed to go direct onto alloy. I know they're not alloy wheels, but it is alloy. I've used it before. It works pretty well. This is not this is not going to be a concourse finish. I'm just going for freshening this engine up. So I've done back and front, as you can see. And like I say, yeah, I could probably spend another week cleaning this up and painting each bit individually, but I'm not going to go mad on it. It's just going to be painted in engine black and then silver for the gearbox casings. If you want to see a really good job, go over and check out Alex Toon's channel. I'll stick a link down the bottom, but yeah, he really has done a really nice job of the engine on his minivan. I'm not going quite as far on this one, but yeah, let me get it masked up and then we'll talk about painting it. Right, there we go, ready for paint. It's all masked up now, so you might notice it's not masked up particularly well. That's just because this bit's going to get brush painted with black, so any overspray I get doesn't really matter because it's going to be in black. Paint I'm using is Simon Eyes Wheel Silver, and the reason I'm using that is just because it's designed to go on bare aluminium. You don't have to prime it or anything, it can just go straight on and it gives quite a nice shiny finish. So yeah, maybe not to everyone's taste, but that's what I use. That's my quick tip. If I was doing this as a concourse car, I would probably make a lot more effort, but this is just a freshen up. I want it to look nice. I thought I'd just show this detail because it can be a pain to do. So I'm replacing the diff housing, drive shaft housing gaskets and gear shift oil seal. So I've got the gear shift oil seal that comes with it's like the mini spares anti-leak kit, comes with a new sleeve as well as the rubber oil seal. Getting that sleeve out though can be a right pain because it's inside there, but here's a little tip for you. So that sleeve is inside there. I just drill a very small hole in the bottom of it. You can then screw a self tapper in it, and then you just use a pair of pliers to get it out. Obviously it is much easier when you've got the engine out of the car like this to do it, which is why I'm doing it now, to be honest. Oh, I thought I'd mention as well, so I've done these gaskets both sides. I've put new drive shaft seals in both sides as well. This side, there's meant to be an O-ring at the bottom here. There's like a gear detemp plunger in there, ball bearing on a spring, and it has should have a rubber O-ring at the bottom. When I took it apart, I thought that was a rubber O-ring, but it's not. It's just a load of gasket goo. So whoever last put it back together forgot to put the O-ring in. So luckily I've got loads of odd bits that I've collected over the years, and I had an O-ring which fitted. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? As usual, I got a bit carried away with it. The finish is probably too good, if you can have too good. Yeah, you can't really, can you? It just comes down to a bit of pride. You start doing it and you think, you know what, I might as well do it properly while I'm here. So, as you'd have seen just a moment ago, I've also done things like the diff oil seals, the drive shaft casing seals, gear shift oil seal. I've taken the front pulley off the front just to check the seal on the front. Glad I've done that, because where it's been stood for a long time, there's a bit of surface rust on the pulley, and I think that might have snagged up the seal eventually. While it was up on the crane there, I just dumped all the oil out and flushed it through as well. So yeah, just got to get it in now.